We kick off the week in the dumps of Delco to find a battle of two teams atop the standings, the All-Stars and Tony Horton. This one was a bit of a pillow fight as both Kyler and Mahomes failed to live up to their now lofty weekly expectations. Kareem hunted the Stars for sport, and Najee putting up 22 was just not enough. The All-Stars and their fraudulent 4-0 record got P90 exposed by Tony Horton. Horton won 16, Stars won 10.
In this matchup, we have the Fat Cat hopping on a flight down to ATL. Would he offer emotional support or distress for FSL as SB is trying to steady the ship and get that second win? Russell Wilson could have gotten off to a fast start, but no. Wilson goes down early, scoring only 10 points, but his running backs look tough. The handcuffed kids, Chuba and Madison, go for 45 to give FSL a chance. But it wouldn't matter. The Fat Cat, Rose, Herbert, Williams, and Chubb got 100 points alone. And even though I hate that tick-tocking son of a bitch, Claypool put up 24. Sorry for the language, Tej. Zachy almost throws a 200 spot on FSL. Fat Cat 179, FSL 136.
We head down to South Philly, where the only thing worse than the people that live there is the parking boom, to find two teams headed in very, very different directions on I-95. The Johns easily dispatched Big Daddy AE behind a full team effort, but 29 from Alvin the Chipmunk was the reason AE is left licking the Johns acorn. A piss-poor effort from Big Daddy has him wanting to put his whole team in timeout, and he's likely expecting a visit from Child Protective Services. Johns in a blowout, 140, AE 100. Bumble!
Now we travel to who knows where. The traveling man, the hard hitters, takes on what 2 weeks ago was the best 0-3 team on the planet, the Toon Squad. The QB room continues to be more tense than being BCC'd on a John Gruden email. JN made the right decision by going with Tannehill over Carr in this one, even though they both laid clunkers. Evans and Swift went off, but then we go to New York and Saquon Barkley. His legs are ripped, but it needs to be asked. Is fat more durable than muscle? I haven't been injured in 3 years, Tej. Saquads goes down early, making it a struggle for the hitters, but I don't think it mattered. Toon Squad is as solid as can be, with 6 players getting into double digits for the Toon. Even with Saquon, this wouldn't have been close. Toon wins big, 169-121.
Out to the Windy City we go to find the Cool Cat staring down the big old Buffaloes. There was nothing chilling about the performance of the Cats in this one, as they take both high score of the week and high score of the season with 188 points. This all including a goose egg from Kenny Galladay Road. Galladay Road. The Buffaloes find themselves rumbling, stumbling to 3-2. The absence of CMC is really starting to take its toll. The Cats make the Buffaloes say meouch to the tune of 188-108.
Now we go to the 6th borough, Hoboken, New Jersey, where Teflon Don took on his foe from across the Hudson, the Luchanator. Might be time to change that team picture, Latif. It just shows a broken image with Saquon. But let's get to the game. Teflon and Luch both with 7 players in double digits. This was a great matchup till the end, but the big difference, Cam with the flex spot, and we go to the Meadowlands with Michael Cotta putting up 14 against the ugliest uniform in sports, the Falcons. Teflon Don was the 1-3 favorite in this one, but Luch showed him that records do matter. Luch 146, the Don 127. Some spread.
We head down to the Charm City to find the red-hot releasing Doves holding the ice-cold burnt toast. This one was over before it started, and the Doves skipped their way through the human turnstile burnt toast. Strong efforts from Hollywood Brown and the LA Chargers' Austin Eckler led to the Doves Californicating all over the soggy toast. As for the toast, beyond 31 points from Jonathan Tractor Trailer, the rest of this team was strictly out of gas. Doves in a gang rape, 172-90. All right, let's look ahead to week 6 here. Hope everyone enjoyed the week 5 fastest 2 minutes. This is your host and Commissioner SB, my co-host JB. How you doing today, Jib?
Doing well. We're recording it a little late, so got a little beer on a Friday night. But yeah, doing well. Good week. pretty crazy looking at some of the scores since we are recording on a Friday night. There was a lot of scoring last night. I was like looking at the scores, and some games were like almost determined already. But
well, even last week there were some big numbers. I mean, there was
that's
just
true with me.
So many studs went off last week.
Yeah. Thursday nights have been very very weird, and a lot of people have been scoring on Thursdays, maybe because some better teams these last 2 weeks are not some stinky teams like normal. But yeah, last week you kind of got screwed again on Thursday night with Russ going down.
Russell Wilson never missed a game in his career. Now he's on IR. Like, I hate Thursday night football. It never breaks my way, even when I'm like, oh, I got Russell Wilson playing. Like, what could possibly go wrong with this?
Right.
And now he's freaking hurt. So anyway, let's talk some transactions. The Big Daddy Warbucks Award of the Week goes to the Fat Cat. Dropping Marlon Mack, though. You know, I gave him a shout out on that. He dropped Marlon Mack. He picked up Devontae Booker, who is, of course, going to be filling in for the injured Saquon Barkley going forward. And he got a lot of touches once Barkley left the game last week. So I do think that, you know, he'll have some definite RB2 value.
Yeah, he looked good. And I know Saquon did, I mean, you never know, but he did say he is coming back, but that could be after, you know, week 14 or whatever it may be. I mean, that injury, his ankle did not look good. But, yeah, I mean, Devontae's probably going to be a stud for Fat Cat for, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 weeks at minimum, I would think. I don't maybe a little less. I don't know if it's an ankle injury, but you never know with Saquon. He's just a weird guy with injuries.
Is Devontae Booker a bell cow in the JV bell cow index?
He is a bell cow. 16 carries coming in. He's
ding, ding, ding. Love it.
He's obviously a bell cow.
There wasn't a whole lot else interesting. A lot of people just swapping defenses and bench players. I don't know if there's anything else that jumps out at you, but I don't think we need to spend too much time talking about this.
No, just some basic wide receiver, running back ads, and then defenses. So no, I think it's just the big one of the week with Booker going to Zachy, and I was actually looking at Zachy's team. Because he has Gaskin as RB2, then he has Booker, he has Chubb, who Chubb is
out.
Yeah. So, yeah, he needed it. Gaskin stinks, even though he killed it last game somehow. But that was it felt like a fluky one.
Yeah, it's so fluky.
Like bunch of catches, and it didn't feel like a real 31-point performance. So,
yeah, and Zachy manhandled me, and Gaskin was on his bench. He had 31 points on his bench with Gaskin. So it would have been even a bigger massacre. And Zachy would have, passed Pender, and Zachy looked like he was high score of the week, and then Pender's team went nuclear on Monday night with Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. But we'll get into all that. Let's get into some matchups.
Yep.
So at the beginning of this year, we had planned to film every Wednesday night. I think we filmed one time on a Wednesday. So this is Friday. So we already have some of the Thursday games that have played itself out. I find myself at 1-4, taking on the 2-3 Big Daddy AE. We are both just struggling to get a win and get some numbers in the win column. I have to just say that I've had a total of 726 points scored against me so far this year, which is by far the most in the league. It's been a mix of injuries on my part, like Mostert going down, now Russell going down. Dalvin hasn't been in the last couple of weeks, and just running into buzzsaws literally every week. Like, I laid out on this program a couple of weeks ago how I get back into this thing. And I'm not going to lie, losing to Zachy last week, he was coming off a 64-point game, and he puts up 180 on me. Like, that took a little wind out of my sails. Like, now I'm like, okay, now if I take another loss, like, I'm getting close to being done here.
Yeah.
And I look at my team, and like, I still think I have a good team. And clearly with Russell out, I made a trade with AE, a pretty, unimportant move, but I sent him Devin Singletary, who's a warm body on a bye week for an injury. I got Sam Darnold, who's been playing pretty good. I probably could have played the waiver wire and started Taylor Heineke, but Darnold's matchups is really good for the next couple of weeks. It's Minnesota, Giants, Atlanta. And then hopefully that's when Russell Wilson comes back. So it was worth it from my opinion. And looking at this matchup, He had Hurts go for 19 last night. Oh, wait, actually, I have a statement from Andy. And we have a couple statements this week. People have
we
sent
do
us
have a couple
quotes.
statements.
So if you'd like to have your quotes read on the air, you can feel free to send us quotes. As long as they're funny or interesting, we'll read them. Looking at you, Rhodes. All right. This is from the owner of Big Daddy AE, Mr. Andy Edwards. I am frankly embarrassed to have earned nearly 20 points from Jalen Hurts' horrific performance on Thursday Night Football. While I cannot in good conscience forfeit a victory, if I happen to win by single digits this week, I will consent to a penalty of FSL's choice, which can include anything short of a shot of tequila. I look forward to a good, clean battle this weekend. So nothing but class from AE. AE is just class personified. So I'll have to start thinking of a fun thing to do. And I guess I still have a TikTok, so maybe I'll just make him do that TikTok in my stead or something.
Oh man, I'll take that.
All right. So
what do you expect from that franchise? Yeah, I mean, like you said, if you're looking at your points, you've gotten completely screwed. Like you have said, though, it's like you're not a world beater, but it's like you should definitely, with scoring, you have 598 total points. You should definitely be 2-3, maybe with a little luck 3-2. And it's like, talking to Kipper this past week, he's kind of thrilled that he's 3-2. He's scoring, like the fourth lowest points, but he's gotten a little lucky here and there. And so it's like, you should definitely be better than 1-4, but with a 14-week season, it's getting close to that. The bell's about to toll, where it's like, at what point is that too much ground to make up? But yeah, I mean, I always look at your team and think you have a solid team. I like Darnold, against Minnesota. Minnesota's not a great team, and they put up a ton of points. So Darnold, I expect them to be down in that one, especially with CMC out again. And then I'm actually expecting a big game from Diggs. I know he's been okay. Last week he wasn't very good. He was kind of shattered the whole week. But yeah, I mean, not getting over 20 from Steph has been pretty big for you. So I think I'm expecting a big game at some point from him. Then you got Dalvin back. You have Chubbard. So I like your team this week. I mean, it sucks that Hurts did get 19, but
I like Chubbard. Just shorten it to Chubbard. The backup guys, I've had the handcuff duo of Hubbard and Madison.
Yeah.
And they've been fine. They've been totally fine. Sutton's been good. I think like this is a team where I'm going to just be like chasing 500 all year. And like, I do think towards the end of this season though, that this team could, like when I get Wilson back, I could like try to ruin a couple people's seasons. Cause I think I could see this team turning into a wagon at some point if my guys start really firing. AE, his team is not very scary. Like he traded his only scary player to me, and I catch him this week with Debo on bye, who's been his best player, and Kittle's on bye, but he's also injured, so that can't really use that as an excuse because he won't be playing anyway. I see 90 points from this AE team. Like I see just a lot of low volume, like Chase Edmonds, Javonte Williams. They get half portions and half portions of carries and targets. Allen Robinson, I don't know what you can expect from him. It's just, there's not a lot there. And when you look at my top three of Diggs, Hill, and Cook against his team, like there's no way I should drop this game.
Yeah, I'm expecting you to pull out the dub. Yeah, I agree with you with AE. I mean, Hurts scoring 19 was kind of a gift after the game he had, but other than that, there's just not too much to be scared of. You have A-Rob. I think that could be kind of a tough one in Green Bay. I don't think that's going to be very high scoring. Edmonds is kind of a question mark. Same with Javonte. I think you roll over him pretty easy this week. I think AE's kind of in a bad spot with some buys and injuries. So I like you this week.
All right, let's move on. I'm going to have you read the statement from JM that he released to the league office last night. And then Tyler also released a quote and a statement that I will read as a rebuttal.
All right, let's see if I can find this quote. Here we go. So we'll go into Hitters. Hitters actually put up some points last night, some decent ones, but so this is going against Ty Man. This was Hitters. This is the official statement from the Hard Hitters. Whatever we go through as a team, injuries, tears, struggles, dissension, We keep it in-house. We bring nothing less than our A-plus game when we play Tie Man. Our team knows how important these games are to us, and we've handled our business over the years. This week will be no different. So nothing but business for JN. It's one of those things where it's like, I know between the Nigro brothers, that's kind of Michigan, Ohio State, but I think this is, Tie Man and him are kind of like Michigan, Penn State. It's right behind it in terms of how big this rivalry is, and he's not taking this lightly. He wants to win this game, and he started as a big underdog, so we'll see what happens.
I think we may have a petition to change rivalry week next year to give the Hitters and the All-Stars 2 games. This is getting pretty spicy, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Mm-hmm.
Tie Man released a statement through the league office as well. Said, and I quote, "I'm surprised Nigro is still paying attention, given his team is pretty much burnt toast. Well, he's not that bad." So Tyler he's just making more enemies as he goes. He's just like, it's just a scorched earth policy where even in his statements, he's giving ricochet shots to the brother. Like, he wonders why he's the heel of this league. Read that quote, and I think you can kind of answer that question yourself. But to the matchup, we're professionals on this show, JB. We don't get into the emotions or the rivalries.
Politics.
We talk X's and O's on this show.
Mm.
Nigro had a pretty good game, but like when you think about Fournette dropping 30, if both Evans and Fournette had 34 combined, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. So it's kind of the same difference. Like, he held serve, but it wasn't necessarily a blowout, or he didn't blow out his expectations. He's starting Carson Wentz. I thought about starting Carson Wentz before I traded for Darnold because I saw he was playing Houston. I think Niagara's team's okay. Like, Tim Patrick, Tony Pollard, those don't get me incredibly excited. He does have Calvin Ridley on bye, and he's missing Saquon Barkley, so he's a bit hamstrung. So I'll at least give him a shout out there that his team looks worse than it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to Tie Man's side of the ledger. What do you see from Tie Man?
Just some serious question marks in terms of, having those two Lions on there. Just kind of looking, Hawkinson has been really bad this year. First 2 weeks he was awesome. Looked like
a league winner, dude.
Yeah, he looked awesome. And then the last few weeks, 3-8-4. So he's been awful. I'm not sure if him and Goff just aren't clicking. So that's a weird one. Anticipating under 10 for Hawkinson. That's one of his dudes. So you have OBJ, who Yahoo still has him projected at 13 or like 14 points. And I don't know what's going on there, but Baker just doesn't throw to him. I'm not liking that one. We have him on another fantasy team, and just watching like full games, he's not even looking at Beckham. It's a weird thing there.
Yeah, like the Browns scored 42 points, or did they win 42 or 47? I forget, but
yeah,
OBJ had 2 for 20, and their team scored 42 points. Like, if you're not going to get paid off in a week like that with Beckham, like, when are you ever going to get paid off?
Yeah.
Because the Browns, they're not really a shootout team. Like, they play good defense. They run the ball really well. So I don't know. I'm with you. That 14-point projection is name value only. And, Najee versus Seattle on Sunday night, the bright lights of really what kicked this rivalry into high gear this year.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun to watch, and I'm sure both Nigro and Tyler will be hanging on every carry. Nigro's a champion. He does it year in, year out. That statement from him was powerful to me, that he takes these games seriously. I'm riding with the Hitters. I think they figure out a way.
Yeah, I'm riding with the Hitters too. I like Wentz against Houston. He has some weapons there. I think he comes in and has a pretty good game. Swift he had a good game last week. I think he maybe gets in the end zone again. I like the Hitters in this one. Like, he had a pretty good showing last night, getting 48, just because, like you said, be decent if Evans and Fournette can combine for 34, and then Ertz getting 12, I think is kind of a surprise there. That's a nice surprise. That's one of his best games of the year. So I think Pollard's a good dude to have. I think he can get over 10. So I like Hitters in this one. I think he scores around his projection, gets 120, and Tie Man falls short.
All right, let's move on to your matchup. We have the 4-1 Jitty Johns taking on the 4-1 Luchinator. This has some playoff implications, folks. unfortunately, you're playing a little one-handed.
Yep.
Going up against a full-strength Luchinator, losing Alvin Kamara to a bye week. Looks like you'll probably have to put in.
Yeah, I'm waiting for some for waivers to go through.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably a back that's going to score me. I think I'm waiting on David Johnson. And so
Don't say it.
Huh?
Don't say it. It hasn't cleared yet.
Oh shit. It won't be out. I'll release this later.
I think Luch had a nice stash in Darrell Williams. There's a lot of D Williams in the league these days that are backup running backs, but he wasn't even available. So Luch had been stashing him the whole time. And now with Clyde Edwards-Helaire on IR, it looks like a really smart move. So matchups, I see a lot of @ signs on Luch's side. Dak at New England, that's good. That's a net positive for you.
Mm-hmm.
Darrell Williams at Washington, that's not a great spot. Kelsey at Washington, but is it we were told all year Washington's got a really good defense, but I think we were lied to. I don't think Washington's that fearful.
Yeah, they're not that scary. And KC's coming off they all looked bad last week. They're going to come off pissed. And
yeah, this is not the week you want to play them.
Yeah, so that could be a pretty high scoring one. Who knows? But yeah, I do agree with you. That front four, everyone's been acting like they're the next coming, and they've been pretty disappointing so far. Zach Moss, I think he should have a decent. I mean, you never know with the Bills running backs. It's just kind of whatever fits the defense they go with. But I actually think they're going to do pretty well against Tennessee. So what we've seen is if they're in the lead, Zach Moss has a good game. So I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous here, but I will say I do like Cousins at Carolina. Carolina's defense has actually been really good, so I'm a little nervous there. Kupp at the Giants and Henderson. That should be. I mean, those guys should put up a ton.
Metcalf picked up an injury. Oh no, he removed from. Okay, he's fine. Never mind. I saw he tweaked something in practice yesterday, but he's not on the final injury report, so that's good. Who's been kind of an unsung hero for you is Michael Pittman.
Yeah, Pittman's been great. He was a little
good
scary.
Flex.
Yeah, he was a little scary in that game one because Pascal got a lot, but he's been awesome for me lately, and he's been getting a ton of targets. And we'll see what happens with Wentz being back in. I think that stock should just go up. But yeah, he's been an awesome flex. He's been solid every week. He puts in work. So
yeah, 20, 13, 12, 21. What more can you ask from a flex that no one was really too keen on? He wasn't he didn't have that much hype coming into the draft. He's just been really freaking solid and the best pass catcher on the Colts.
Yep. So
I don't know if you can insert the Admiral Akbar clip, but for the Bills Titans, I think it's a trap.
It's a trap.
Really?
This game scares me. Think about it, right? The Titans, yeah, they lost the Jets. They've been up and down, but they're still a good team. They're battle tested. They're playoff team. They went to the AFC Championship 2 years ago. They beat us last year.
Yep.
We're coming off this Chiefs game feeling, fat and cocky that, number one in power rankings. Oh my, are we going to lose again? I think primetime Monday night in Nashville, this is a serious trap spot. And Derrick Henry's been crushing. And our defense is really good against the pass, but we've yet to play a really good power run team.
Right.
I don't know. I think that I'm not feeling super confident. There's no way I'd lay 5.5 points on the Bills this Monday, but
yeah,
that's kind of an aside.
Yep.
I'm gonna pick against you just because you're missing Kamara. Your stud Rodrigo rocket ship is hurt. That really hurts.
Throw someone in there, but
I'm gonna take Luch.
I'm going with me. I think I like that Kupp Henderson matchup against the Giants. Metcalf against Pitt on Sunday night. He's been kind of turning it on, so I think I get over Luch here.
All right, let's go to the red hot Fat Cat against the red hot releasing Dubs.
Still not getting love by Yahoo, that's for sure. Fat Cat still getting 115 projected.
Yeah, because last week was a 3 standard deviation event that his team scores 180 fucking points on me. The Dubs is getting some love, projected at 137. Let's see. Ooh, the Fat Cat's best stack at Baltimore. That jumps off the page at me. Myles Gaskin looks like he's been given a starting role. Zach's missing Nick Chubb, his best player.
Well, he's going to have – I'm sure he's going to put Booker in for Gaskin, right?
Yeah, true.
Or maybe for Shenault.
Shenault.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shenault was invisible. He caught a 58-yard pass with like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, but he was goose-egging Zachy for most of that game.
Yeah, I think you throw him in there. Yeah.
I would agree. I think, Gaskin at least plays the Jags in London, which is like, could we give British people like worse games? Like, did Roger Goodell think this up? I was like, all right, what's the shittiest product we can put on the field? And let's send them to London.
Oh, 2 awful games.
And then on the other side, the Doves has just been really, really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood Brown's been awesome. DJ Moore, didn't have a great week last week, but he's been fantastic. Eckler and Zeke have been fantastic. I don't know. I think this is easy for me. This is the same thing with like Fat Cat beating my ass last week. He's going to score 70 this week. And I think
Doves he chirps us for not giving him a lot of love. His team's good. I mean, you have Jamar Chase, who's been a wide receiver 1 this year. He's been awesome. It's going to be a fun keeper for him for years. Yeah,
fun
keeper.
Too.
And, for him just being at the flex spot his team's really freaking good. Seals Jones, how's he kind of had we had 9 targets last week, which is pretty nice. But, I think his team's just good all around. I think he has a pretty high floor, and it's going to be tough to beat him. So I'm going with Doves.
All I know is if I'm 1-6, I'm going to be sending a trade offer Tyreek Hill for Jamar Chase and trying to take his keeper right before the keeper deadline.
That's true.
So, he's probably the best keeper in fantasy right now.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe I'll help Doves make a run to the championship, which he'll undoubtedly lose in heartbreaking fashion, even with a super team.
That has to go through the league office. I don't think that's being approved.
I approve the trades. What's wrong with that? Jamar Chase has more points than Tyreek Hill, probably.
I would vote against that. Hard.
Well, this is not a democracy. Anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but just know that the gears are spinning. All right, we're heading to Teflon Don versus the Clifford's Cool Cats. The Cool Cats already out of the gates with a really nice 24 points from Antonio Brown. Chris Godwin comes up a little small with only 9 for Teflon. And the Tampa Bay D, which they almost had a pick 6. I feel like they could have had a lot more points than they did, only come up with 5 against Jalen Hurts, who looked lost throwing the football. Chris Carson just got ruled out. So Pender's going to have to go to the bench and start like Kenyon Drake or some scrub. Teflon, he was my pick at the beginning of the year. His team's been okay. It's just, I don't know. It just hasn't been able to quite put it all together. Like CD has been okay. Everyone, I think, was drafting him as like a wide receiver 1, and he's not.
Yeah, Jones has kind of stunk. Like, looking at his scores, like, obviously he had that 41-pointer, but other than that, 17, 11, 14. I mean, you would think he would, besides like a fluky game, you would want him to get over 20 a decent amount of the time, being what you paid for him and stuff like that. So that just kind of been, I mean, honestly, like James Conner's been better than him. Marvin Jones started off hot. He's kind of been struggling.
I don't know about that.
I mean, from the points in the last 3 weeks.
Aaron Jones had a 41-point game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, barring a fluky game. But if he put 15, if he didn't score 8 touchdowns that game, and he was going 16, 17, 11, I don't know.
Where does James Conner rank on the bell cow scale?
Nah, he's not a bell cow. He's not.
Okay. All right, you heard it here first. Not a bell cow. Derrick Henry, however, is a bell cow, and he plays against Buffalo, which Teflon should probably be pretty happy about because the Bills' D has been really good. And I'm not suggesting that this defense is the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, but they've been really good, especially against the run. And more so because we can score points in bunches. Teams can't just run it down our throats all game. We force them to throw it. So
Yeah, and Henry had a bad game against them last year. I think he had like 60 yards or something, but we just said, hey, if you're going to beat us with Tannehill and his arm, and they did. But I don't think Henry had a great game.
Yeah, man, that Chargers Ravens game is going to be a lot of fun. That's at 1:00. That's a really, really good game and big for the AFC.
Yeah, true.
Playoffs. I'm going to take Teflon in an upset. I like Stafford at the Giants, to your point earlier. Aaron Jones at Chicago. Yeah, I'm sticking with it. I'm going to take Teflon in an upset. Pender's flying too high. He needs to get brought back down to earth here.
I'm going to roll Clifford's. I think Jackson, I think that Chargers game should be pretty high scoring. I love AB. AB kind of looks like the AB in Pittsburgh. He's looked awesome.
Crazy.
Cooper has been kind of hit or miss, but he had two good games, two touchdowns in the last two for him. I do not love that Carson. It looks like you said, he's probably going to have to play probably Kenyon Drake.
Maybe he'll pick up David Johnson after you said that and steal him from you from the waiver wire.
I control, like you control the trades. I control when this thing gets uploaded. Yeah, I like Cool Cats in this one.
All right, let's go to Toon Squad versus Burnt Toast. Toon Squad just keeps rolling. 30 more points from Brady, which, Brady had one bad game, which coincidentally was the game at New England that everyone thought he was going to have a bazillion points. But he's gone 30, 31, 36, 4, 42, 29. Like, Brady's been one of the best quarterbacks in fantasy.
Yeah.
And, he pairs that with really good players up and down the roster, like Dawson Knox, Brandon Cooks. Cooks has come off the boil a little bit, but Tyler Lockett with no Russell, like Tyler Lockett and Russell Wilson had like that mind meld, and with Geno Smith in there, for you with as a DK owner, I think it's not a positive thing for DK, but like losing Russell Wilson is never a positive, but I think it hurts Lockett more than it hurts DK. I think it's a little bit asymmetric in that regard.
Right. If you're not a very good quarterback or like not experienced just coming in, DK is going to be the better guy to throw to just because he's massive. And it's like he's just the easier target where Lockett. You
look at those two guys, you're like, yeah, I'm going to throw it to that guy instead of that guy. The guy who looks like a thoroughbred racehorse.
Right. I feel like Lockett's he's almost like the recipient of that, like just that Russell deep ball, which is just so good. And obviously Geno does not have that. So yeah, that's true. That could be an iffy one for Lockett there.
And then on the other side of the ledger, you have the worst team in the league heading straight for the Sacco. Has to eat the hot chip if he comes in last. Better start preparing his taste buds for that. Not a whole lot to get excited about. Jonathan Taylor finally paid off, and in the last 2 weeks he's gone 20 and then 31. So maybe Indy's starting to realize, like, oh, we should probably give this guy the ball more. AJ Brown back. He killed us last year against Buffalo, so maybe he could do something.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he'll have a good game in Buffalo.
But I don't see it. Toon Squad's too good, and Burnt Toast is too bad. Like this is pretty clear cut for me.
Yeah. Toon Squad's a great team. He was 0-3, won 2 in a row. I think he continues to roll over Burnt Toast.
Yeah, he kept stealing that title of best 0-3 team from me, and now he's the best 2-3 team. I'm the best 1-4 team. So at least like I have a title now.
Going the other, spacing out a little bit.
All right. Final matchup of the week: the Buffaloes against Tony Horton. The Buffaloes laid an egg last night. I didn't even realize he was starting these guys. Gio Bernard and the Slim Reaper, Devonta Smith, coming up really small. McCaffrey got ruled out again. Alex Collins was a good pickup by Kipper. He's going to get his second start for Seattle, led by Geno Smith. Josh against Tennessee should be good. Thielen has come off the boil a little bit too. He put up 13 points across the last 2 weeks. Hasn't been very good. Deontay Johnson's been really good, even though last week was sort of a strange one, only 2 targets, but it was a long touchdown. Yeah, he can't be feeling too good. What do you see on the side of Horton?
I like Horton. I like McLaurin against Kansas City. I mean, I don't know if it was just a one-off, but I mean, it hasn't been a one-off. Kansas City's defense has stunk, and the Bills exploited them. I think McLaurin's going to have a good game against Kansas City. The Kyler Hopkins against Cleveland, that's not a great matchup, obviously. You have Hunt against Arizona, which Arizona's tough, but he's the guy there. So
yeah.
Brandon Bolden against Dallas. That's kind of if he gets you 10, you'll be happy. But and then Mooney, kind of rough low end there. Not sure what he's. Why he's, I guess, Aguilar. So a little rough in the RB2 and flex there, but no, I just think those two games, Kipper not having CMC, hasn't been one of the best teams without CMC, and just him laying an egg with Smith and Bernard. I don't think he can really come back from that without having CMC there. So I think he goes down to Horton.
Yeah, I'm with you. The only player on his team, well, I mean, Deontay Johnson's been legit. So he has Deontay and Josh, but Josh versus Kyler, that's kind of a wash for me. I think they could both easily score the same number of points. So while Kipper usually has the quarterback advantage, this week is not one of them. And the problem is Horton has a really good team behind Kyler. So I'm going to ride with you. I think the Buffaloes goes rumbling, bumbling, stumbling to 3-3. And Horton moves up impressively to 5-1.
Yep, I agree with you. I think Horton's got a good team.
All right, let's get into our lead pipe locks of the week. I'll let you go first.
All right, so I'm going with lead pipe lock of the week in terms of for matchups for the MBMFL. I'm going to go with the Doves. I think you're right. I think Fat Cat kind of blew his load last week and put up a ton of points, but the Doves have a great team, and the Fat Cat's running a little bit on thin ice with some of his players there, with Chubb being out. Again, I like Booker in for Chenault. That could really help him, but I think the Doves are just too good there. So I'm rolling with the Doves as my lead pipe lock for the MBMFL. For the games I like for the total and the spread, let's see.
Let me give mine while you look at mine.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to look at it. Let me think about it.
Sounds like you may have forgotten again this week. I'm going to go with lead pipe lock of the week, the hard hitters.
The hitters.
You don't release a quote like that and come up small. I know JN is a man of pride, dignity. I think he's going to figure out a way to get it done this week. And, I hope he pulls it out, because after saying stuff like that, you need to show up, and he has a history of doing that. So I'm going to take the hitters. I'm going to back JN. I think he gets it done. I made the decision that I'm only going to give out underdogs and unders this year, and I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to pick the Chargers +3 at Baltimore. I think Baltimore, they've been living life on like a nice edge this year. They could probably be 5-0. They could probably be 0-5. Like every single game they've won has been so close. I think the Chargers are for real. I think Brandon Staley's an awesome coach that's going to be around for a long time. I think the Chargers are a force in the AFC. Like it's Chargers, Chiefs, Bills, and then probably the next series like Browns and Titans to me in the AFC. I think the Chargers are for real. I think they're going to come in, take Lamar Jackson's lunch after that crazy game he just had, and then under. I'm going to take under Buffalo, Tennessee. It's 53.5. I think it's a lot of points.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Tennessee, their defense has been bad. I get that. But I think Tennessee is going to really try to run Derrick Henry a lot and shorten the game. And if you think the Bills are going to blow Tennessee out, then this probably sounds crazy, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Titans are going to bring the Bills down into the mud with them and shorten this game and try to win this thing like 20-17. And I think 53.5 is just a little too much for how I think this game's going to go. Just because I do think it's going to be closer than people think. So those are my two.
Like it. I'm going to go with for my, let's see, where was I thinking that? For my spread, I'm going to go with a home dog. So I'm going to go with the Panthers +2.5 against the Vikings. The Panthers defenses look tough. They lost a tough one last week to the Eagles. They should not have lost that game. The Vikings stink. I don't think the Vikings are that good. Their defense isn't great. I think this one's a close one, if anything, and I kind of like the Panthers outright. So I'm going to roll Panthers plus 2.5 over the Vikings, maybe a little sprinkle on the money line there. And then for the total, the one I'm looking at is the Patriots-Cowboys under 50.5. That's a pretty high total there.
That's high.
Yeah.
I like that.
The Cowboys, they're good offense. They put up points. Patriots don't. That's just a lot of points. I don't see that game being, 28-24 or whatever it may be. I see that game being, maybe 21-13 or something around there. So I don't think that gets close. So I'm rolling with the under 50.5 Patriots-Cowboys.
All right. Well, that wraps it. Hope everyone has a good weekend. Let's win some money. Let's stay healthy. JB, thank you for joining me as always. And go Bills.
Peace, boys.
Yeah.